You didn't end up where you are by accident. You were quietly placed here. You didn't come across this by accident. Something brought you here. And if you're honest with yourself, you've been feeling it for a while now. That quiet discomfort, that strange sense of being out of place, like you're standing in a room full of people, yet somehow you don't belong. You've tried to ignore it, haven't you? Tried to blend in, tried to adjust, tried to convince yourself that this is just how life is supposed to feel. But deep down, you know something isn't right. Why did life move you here without explanation? Why were you taken out of spaces that once felt familiar and placed into environments that feel foreign, cold, confusing? Why do you feel like you don't belong yet can't leave? It's not just physical, is it? It's deeper than that. It's in conversations that don't resonate, in places that drain your energy, in people who can't seem to understand you, no matter how clearly you express yourself. You smile, you nod, you show up. But inside, there's a voice whispering, "This isn't where I'm meant to be." And that voice, it won't go away, because it's not confusion, it's not anxiety, it's not overthinking, it's awareness. You see, most people settle into the environments they're given. They adapt, they conform, they become a part of the system around them. But you feel resistance, you feel friction, you feel like something inside you is refusing to fully attach. And that's what makes this so uncomfortable. Because part of you wants peace, but another part of you refuses to lie. So you start questioning everything. Why am I here? Why does this feel wrong? Why do I feel alone, even when I'm not? And the more you ask, the more silent the world becomes. No answers, no explanations, just that same feeling, over and over again. But what if the silence isn't emptiness? What if it's preparation? What if you weren't placed here by mistake, but by design? Think about it. What if this unfamiliar space, this uncomfortable season, this sense of not belonging, isn't a punishment, but a positioning? Because sometimes you have to be removed from where you were before you can become who you're meant to be. And that's the part no one talks about. The loneliness, the confusion, the feeling of being disconnected from everything you once understood. It feels like you've been dropped into a life that doesn't match your soul, like you're living in between two realities, not who you used to be, but not yet who you're becoming. And that space, that in between, that's where the transformation begins. You're not lost, you're not broken, you're not behind, you're being moved. And the reason it feels so intense is because deep down, you already know this isn't random. You were placed here for a reason, even if that reason hasn't revealed itself yet, even if it makes no sense, even if it hurts. Because being chosen doesn't start with clarity. It starts with disruption. It starts with being taken out of comfort and placed into mystery. And right now, that's exactly where you are. So instead of asking, "Why am I here?" maybe the real question is, what is this preparing me for? Because something is shifting, something is aligning, something bigger than you can see is already in motion. And whether you realize it or not, you didn't just stumble into this moment. You were led here, or chosen, even in your confusion, even in your discomfort, even in the silence. Because this feeling you can't explain, this place you don't understand, this version of life that doesn't quite fit, it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your awakening. Because this place is where everything begins to change. Nothing about your situation is random. Every detail was arranged. There's something you need to understand. And not just hear, but truly feel. Because if you've been paying attention to your life lately, you'll notice a pattern. Not random events, not coincidences. A pattern. People appearing out of nowhere. Doors closing without warning. opportunities slipping through your fingers just when you thought you had it. And at first it felt unfair, confusing, even painful. But what if I told you? None of it was random. Not the people, not the losses, not the delays. Not even the moments that made you question everything. You were moved. Yes, moved. Not by chance, but by design. Think about the people who entered your life unexpectedly. The ones who showed up at the exact moment you needed something, even if you didn't realize it at the time. Some of them inspired you. Some of them challenged you. And some of them broke you. But every single one of them shifted you, changed your direction, forced you to see something you couldn't see before. You were placed right in their path, not to stay forever, but to grow, to awaken, to evolve. And then, just as suddenly as they came, they left, or things changed, or the connection faded into something unrecognizable. And you wondered, why bring them into my life, just to take them away? Because they were never meant to stay. They were assignments. You were redirected, again and again and again. Every time you thought, this is it, this is where I'm supposed to be, something happened, something shifted, something ended. That job you thought was your breakthrough, gone. That relationship you thought was forever, changed. That opportunity you worked so hard for, closed. And it didn't just happen once. It kept happening, over and over again. You were moved again, away from places that felt secure, away from paths that seemed clear, away from versions of your life that looked good on the outside, but didn't align with who you truly are. And it hurt, because you couldn't understand it. You kept asking, why does everything fall apart when I get close? Why can't things just stay stable? Why do I keep getting pushed in a different direction? But look closer. What if you weren't being blocked? What if you were being guided? You were redirected, not to confuse you, but to protect you. Because not every open door is meant for you, and not every person who comes into your life is meant to walk with you forever. Or some doors close them, because what's behind them is too small for where you're going. Some people leave, because their role in your journey is complete, and some paths collapse, because they were never your final destination. You were placed in situations that stretched you, in environments that felt uncomfortable, around people who didn't fully understand you, not to punish you, but to prepare you, because growth doesn't happen in comfort. Clarity doesn't come from staying the same. And purpose. Purpose is never revealed in stillness. It's revealed through movement, through change, through being taken out and placed somewhere new. You were moved, so you wouldn't settle. You were redirected, so you wouldn't get stuck. You were placed exactly where you needed to be, even when it didn't feel like it. And now, when you look back, you can start to see it. That thing that didn't work out, it led you somewhere else. That person who walked away, they made space for someone or something different. That plan that fell apart, it forced you onto a path you never would have chosen, but needed to walk. Nothing was wasted, not the pain, not the confusion, not even the delays. Every moment, every shift, every unexpected turn was part of something bigger. Because your life isn't random, it's intentional. You were moved with precision. You were redirected with purpose. You were placed with vision. Even when you couldn't see it, even when you didn't understand it, even when you resisted it. And maybe right now, you're in another one of those moments. Another shift, another ending, another redirection. And it feels like you're starting over, like you've lost control, like nothing makes sense. But this isn't the end, it's alignment. Because every time you were moved, you got closer. Every time you were redirected, you got sharper. Every time you were placed somewhere unfamiliar, you became stronger. This is not chaos. This is construction. Something is being built. Something you can't fully see yet. But you can feel it. Can't you? That pressure. That pull. That quiet knowing that something bigger is unfolding. That's not your imagination. That's your confirmation. You were never just drifting through life. You were being positioned. Strategically, carefully, intentionally. So the next time something doesn't go your way, the next time a door closes, the next time someone exits your life, don't just ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, where is this moving me? Because you're not being denied. You're being directed. You're not being lost. You're being led. You were moved. You were redirected. You were placed. And it's all leading you exactly where you're meant to be. But the real reason hasn't revealed itself yet. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was preparing. There's a part of your life that no one else can see. No applause, no recognition, no visible progress, just silence. And if you're honest, this is the part that's been the hardest, because it feels like nothing is happening. You wake up, you try, you push yourself forward, but somehow, you end the day feeling like you're still in the same place. Stuck. Not moving backward, but not moving forward either. Just there. And while you're standing in that stillness, you look around, and everyone else seems to be moving. They're achieving, growing, posting their wins, celebrating milestones, while you are trying to figure out why your life feels paused. You start questioning yourself. Am I doing something wrong? Why is nothing changing for me? Why does it feel like I'm being left behind? And that question, that heavy, quiet question, it lingers, because it doesn't just come from comparison. It comes from confusion. You've been putting in the effort. You've been trying to stay strong. You've been holding on, even when it's hard. So why does it feel like you're not going anywhere? Why does it feel like life pressed pause on you, while everyone else kept playing? But what if? What if this stillness isn't what it looks like? Or what if the silencer isn't emptiness? What if it's preparation? You thought you were behind, but you were being prepared. Prepared in ways that don't show up on the surface. Prepared in ways that can't be measured by timelines or compared to someone else's journey. Because not all growth is visible. Not all progress makes noise. As some of the most powerful transformations happen quietly. In the moments where you feel like nothing is changing, something inside you is. Your mindset, your patience, your strength, your awareness, all shifting, all evolving, even when you can't see it yet. You thought you were waiting, but you were becoming. Becoming someone who can handle more. Becoming someone who won't break under pressure. Becoming someone who understands things on a deeper level. Because if everything had come to you when you first wanted it, you wouldn't have been ready. You would have rushed it, misused it, or even lost it. So instead, life slowed you down, not to punish you, but to build you. And I know, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like delay. It feels like being overlooked. It feels like watching opportunity pass you by. While you stand there, wondering when it will be your turn. But this isn't punishment. This is protection. Because timing matters more than you think. You're not just being given something. You're being shaped into someone who can sustain it. And that takes time. That takes silence. That takes moments where nothing on the outside is moving, so everything on the inside can. You thought you were stuck, but you were stabilizing your emotions, stabilizing your mindset, stabilizing your identity. So that when things finally start to shift, you don't lose yourself in the process. Because let's be real, it's easy to want progress, but it's not always easy to handle it. Growth brings pressure. Success brings responsibility. Change brings challenges. And if you're not ready for that, it can break you. So instead of rushing you into something you're not prepared for, life kept you in this quiet season, this uncomfortable stillness, where it feels like nothing is happening, but everything is being built. And I know, watching others move ahead, it does something to you. It makes you question your worth, your timing, your path. It makes you wonder if you missed something, if you took a wrong turn, if you're somehow less than. But you're not. You're just on a different process. Because not everyone is being prepared for the same thing. Some people are moving fast, because their journey requires speed. But yours requires depth, and depth can't be rushed. It has to be developed, layer by layer, moment by moment, lesson by lesson. So while it looks like you're standing still, you're actually being rooted. And roots, they grow in the dark. They grow where no one can see them. They grow in silence. They grow in stillness. But once they're strong enough, that's when everything above the surface begins to rise. And when it does, it doesn't just grow, it lasts. You thought you were behind, but you were being prepared. You thought you were waiting, but you were becoming. And one day, this quiet season, this confusing pause, this feeling of being stuck, it's all going to make sense, because you'll look at who you've become and realize there's no way you could have reached this version of yourself any faster. So don't rush this. Don't resent this. Why, even though it's uncomfortable, even though it feels slow, even though it makes you question everything, trust it, because this silencer is not empty. It's sacred. And you're not stuck. You're being prepared, because something is about to activate, and you won't expect it. Now something is shifting, and then something shifts. It doesn't announce itself loudly. There's no warning, no countdown, no clear moment you can point to and say, this is where it began, but you feel it. At first it's subtle, a change in your energy, a quiet sense that something is different, even if nothing around you has visibly changed yet. You wake up, and something inside you feels lighter. Not perfect, not fully clear, but different. You feel it. The weight you've been carrying for so long, it doesn't feel as heavy anymore. The confusion that once clouded your mind, it starts to loosen its grip. And for the first time in a long time, there's a small, steady sense of clarity. You notice it in the way you respond to things that used to trigger you, situations that once drained you. They don't have the same power anymore. People who used to control your emotions now feel distant, not because they changed, but because you did. You notice it. Your patience is different. Your awareness is sharper. Your energy, more guarded, more intentional. And then, it starts happening outside of you too. Opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. Conversations shift. Doors that were once tightly shut start to open effortlessly. Things that used to feel forced now begin to flow. You feel it. That sense of movement. That quiet momentum building beneath your feet. Like something has finally been set into motion. And it's not chaotic. It's not rushed. It's aligned. You can't ignore it. Because everything around you starts responding differently. People, they start acting differently toward you. Some become more supportive, drawn to your energy in ways you don't fully understand. Others, they become distant, uncomfortable, even reactive without reason. And you're left wondering, what changed? But deep down, you already know. You changed. You can't ignore it. The same people who overlooked you now notice you. The same spaces where you felt invisible now respond to your presence. It's like something about you is speaking without words, You feel it. That quiet confidence. Not loud, not forced, but steady. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need approval. Because it comes from something deeper, something you built in silence. And now, it's showing. You notice it. The way you walk into a room, the way you carry yourself, the way you no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You're not trying to be seen, but you are. You're not trying to stand out, but you do, and that's when it hits you. This is what all that silence was for. All those moments where nothing seemed to be happening. All that waiting, all that internal growth. It wasn't wasted. It was building this shift, this alignment, this undeniable change in your reality. You can't ignore it. Because even your thoughts are different now. You no longer think from fear. You no longer move from doubt. There's a new voice inside you, clearer, stronger, certain, and it's guiding you, without hesitation. You feel it, the pull towards something greater, something more aligned with who you truly are. And for once, you're not resisting it. You're moving with it, and that's when things really start to accelerate. The right opportunities don't just appear, they find you. The right people don't just meet you, they recognize you. The right paths don't just open, they call you forward. You notice it. How everything that once felt complicated is becoming simple. Decisions that used to take weeks now take moments. Because you trust yourself now. And that trust, that's the real shift. You can't ignore it. Because even the challenges feel different. They don't break you. They refine you. They don't stop you. They strengthen you. And instead of asking, why is this happening? You start asking, what is this showing me? That's when you know you're no longer in the same place you were before. You've crossed something, an invisible line, a point of no return. And now, there's no going back to who you used to be. You feel it, that this is just the beginning. Not the end of your struggle, but the end of your confusion. You notice it, that everything is starting to make sense. The delays, the redirections, the silence, it all led here. You can't ignore it, because your life is finally starting to reflect who you've become. And that feeling, it's powerful, it's undeniable, it's real. This is the moment things start changing, not loudly, not all at once, but deeply, permanently, and whether you're ready or not. It's happening. You feel it. You notice it. You can't ignore it. Because this shift is only the beginning. You're starting to see what others can't. Something is happening to you. And it's not something you can easily explain. It's subtle, but undeniable. Quiet, but powerful. It didn't arrive all at once. It crept in slowly over time. A feeling, a knowing, a heightened sense that something inside you has changed. You notice things others ignore. Small details. The tone behind someone's words. The shift in someone's energy, even when they're smiling. The silence between conversations that says more than the words themselves. And it's strange, isn't it? Because you can't always explain what you're sensing. But you know it's real. You feel things others can't explain. You walk into a room and instantly feel the atmosphere. You sense tension before anyone speaks. You pick up on intentions before they're revealed. It's like your awareness has sharpened. Like something inside you is no longer asleep. And once you notice it, you can't go back. Because now, you're seeing beyond the surface. Or you're no longer just hearing what people say. You're hearing what they mean. You're no longer just watching actions. You're recognizing patterns. Patterns in people, patterns in situations, patterns in your own life. And those patterns, they start connecting. You begin to realize the same types of people show up in different forms, The same situations repeat with different faces. The same lessons return until they're fully understood. And that realization, it changes everything. Because now, nothing feels random anymore. You start to see the design, the repetition, the hidden structure beneath what once felt like chaos. You notice things others ignore. Like how someone's words don't match their energy. How someone's presence feels heavy, even when they're being kind. How certain environments drain you, without any clear reason. And before you might have doubted yourself. You might have brushed it off. You might have told yourself you were overthinking. But now you trust it. Because it keeps proving itself to you. Again and again and again. You feel things others can't explain. A sudden pull toward certain people. And an equally strong pull away from others. An inner voice that tells you, pay attention to this. Or warns you, something isn't right. And even when you try to ignore it, it doesn't go away. It gets louder, stronger, clearer, until you listen. And when you do, you realize something powerful. This isn't anxiety. This isn't imagination. This is awareness. This is awakening, because you're no longer asleep to the world around you. You're no longer moving blindly through situations. You're seeing, feeling, understanding, on a deeper level than before. And yes, it can feel isolating, because not everyone sees what you see. Not everyone feels what you feel. You try to explain it, but the words don't fully capture it. So sometimes, you stay quiet observing, listening, watching, because you've realized something. Not everything needs to be spoken. Some things are meant to be understood internally. You notice things others ignore, like the way certain people reveal themselves over time. Not through one moment, but through consistent patterns. You start predicting behavior, not because you're guessing, but because you're recognizing cycles. And that gives you power. Power to choose differently. Power to step back. Power to protect your energy. Because now, you don't need to wait for things to fall apart, to know where they're heading. You feel things others can't explain. You feel when something is aligned, when something is right, when something is meant for you. And you also feel when it's not, even if it looks good on the surface, even if it makes sense logically, if it doesn't feel right, you know. And that knowing, that's your guide. That's what's leading you now. Not fear, not pressure, not expectations, but awareness. And the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes, the clearer it gets, the more it reveals to you. Because awakening, it's not a single moment, it's a process, a continuous unfolding, layers being removed, truth being revealed, vision becoming sharper. Until one day, you look at the world and realize you're not seeing it the way you used to. You're seeing through it. You're seeing beyond it. And that can feel overwhelming at times. Because once you see clearly, you can't pretend anymore. You can't ignore red flags. You can't accept things that don't align. You can't go back to being unaware. But that's not a loss. That's power. Because now, you move differently. You choose differently. You protect your peace, your energy, your path. You notice things others ignore. You feel things others can't explain. And that's not something to fear. That's something to embrace. Because this awareness, this awakening, it's not happening to confuse you. It's happening to guide you, to elevate you, to prepare you for a life where you no longer move blindly, but intentionally, where you no longer react unconsciously, but respond with clarity, where you no longer question your inner voice, but trust it. This is who you're becoming, the someone who sees, someone who feels, someone who understands, on a level that can't be taught, only experienced. And now that it's awakened in you, it's not going anywhere, because this isn't just a phase. This is your next level. This is your power. And this is your awakening. And this awareness is about to change everything. This is the moment everything turns. And then it happens. Not slowly, not in pieces, not in a way you can gradually prepare for. It hits you, all at once. A moment where everything becomes clear, not because someone explained it to you, not because you found the perfect answer, but because something inside you finally connects, and in that moment, you feel it. That shift, that release, that overwhelming wave of understanding that moves through your entire being. Now you understand why things didn't work out, why certain doors closed without warning, why people walked away when you needed them most. Now you see that it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't loss, it was alignment. It wasn't the end, it was preparation. Now it makes sense. Why you had to go through the confusion, why you had to sit in the silence, why you had to feel like you were being pulled in directions you didn't choose. Because every moment, every delay, every heartbreak, every unanswered question, it was leading here to this exact realization. Now you understand that nothing was wasted, not the pain, not the mistakes, not even the moments where you felt like giving up. They were all shaping you, building you, preparing you for this moment of clarity. And when it hits, it's emotional, because you start to see your life differently. You replay moments in your mind, moments that once felt confusing, unfair, even painful. And suddenly, they look different. They feel different. Why, you see the purpose behind them. You see how everything was connected, how one event led to another, how one ending created space for something new, how one painful lesson unlocked a deeper understanding. Now you see the pattern, the design, the intention behind everything you've been through. And it changes you, because you're no longer asking, why did this happen to me? Now you're saying, it had to happen for me. Now it makes sense. Why you couldn't stay where you were, why you couldn't become who you're meant to be in the environments that once felt comfortable, why things had to fall apart so something greater could come together. And with that understanding comes power, real power, not the kind that's loud, not the kind that needs validation, but the kind that's unshakable, because now you trust the process, even when it doesn't make sense in the moment, even when things feel uncertain. You know, there's a bigger picture. Now you understand that every delay had a purpose, every redirection had a reason, every moment of stillness was building something within you, of strength, patience, clarity. And now you feel it, that strength you didn't know you had, that clarity you were searching for, that confidence that comes from surviving and understanding. Now you see that you're not the same person you were before. You don't think the same. You don't react the same. You don't settle the same, because you've seen too much, felt too much, learned too much, and that changes everything. Because now you move differently. You walk with intention. You speak with awareness. You choose with clarity. You're no longer guessing. You're knowing. Now it makes sense why you had to break, to rebuild, why you had to lose, to gain, why you had to feel lost, to finally find yourself. And in this moment, there's a release, a deep emotional release. The weight you've been carrying, the questions you've been holding on to, the confusion that once filled your mind. It all begins to lift, because you finally understand. And with that understanding comes peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because you see it clearly now. You see your journey, You see your growth. You see your transformation. Now you understand that you were never lost. You were being led. Now you see that you were never behind. You were being prepared. Now it makes sense that everything had to happen exactly the way it did. And as that realization settles in, you step into something new, something powerful, something that was always within you, but is now fully awakened. Your power, not potential, not possibility, but power, because now you're no longer questioning your path. You're owning it. You're no longer doubting your journey. You're trusting it. You're no longer waiting for permission. You're moving with purpose. And that's the breakthrough. Not just understanding what happened, but becoming who you were meant to be because of it. Now you understand. Now you see. Now it makes sense. And now you rise. Because now nothing can stop what's coming. If you're hearing this, you're exactly where you need to be. This is it. Take a moment and really feel that. Not just hear it. Not just let it pass through you. Feel it. Because everything you've been through, every question, every delay, every moment that made you doubt yourself, it was all leading here. You were never lost. You were placed in situations that stretched you, placed around people who revealed truth to you, placed in seasons that forced you to grow. Not by accident, not randomly, but intentionally. You were placed. Even when it felt like you were falling apart, you were placed. Even when nothing made sense, you were placed. Even when you questioned everything. And now you can see it. Everything aligned for this moment. Every closed door, aligned. Every redirection, aligned. Every painful ending, aligned. It wasn't working against you. It was working for you, guiding you, shaping you, preparing you for this exact point in your life. And now that you're here, everything changes because you're not the same person anymore. You're stronger, you're clearer, you're aware. You've seen too much to go back. You've grown too much to shrink. You've awakened too much to doubt yourself again. Your breakthrough is here. Not coming someday, not waiting in the future. Here, now. And you feel it, don't you? That energy, that certainty, that quiet but undeniable knowing that something has shifted. This is your moment. Say it to yourself. I was placed, not lost. Say it again. I was placed, not lost. Every time you felt confused, you were being positioned. Every time you felt delayed, you were being aligned. Every time you felt broken, you were being rebuilt. I was placed, not lost. Let that settle into you. Let it replace every doubt, every fear, every question that once held you back. Because now you know. Now you understand. Now you see. Everything aligned for this moment. Not just the good, but the hard parts too. The nights you didn't know how you'd get through. Aligned. The moments you almost gave up. Aligned. The times you felt completely alone. Aligned. It all mattered. It all built you into who you are right now. And who you are right now is ready. Ready for what's next. Ready for what's coming. Ready for what you've been preparing for your entire life. Your breakthrough is here. Step into it. Not with hesitation, not with fear, but with certainty. Because you didn't come this far to question yourself now. You didn't survive all of that. Just to shrink at the moment it all begins to open.
No.
This is where you rise. This is where you own your path. This is where you stop asking for permission and start moving with purpose. Say it again. My breakthrough is here. Feel the power in that. Feel the truth in that. My breakthrough is here, because it is. And nothing can take that away from you. Not doubt, not fear, not the past. You've already moved through all of that. You've already proven to yourself that you can handle more than you thought, that you can rise from what tried to break you, that you can keep going even when it's hard. That's your power. And now, you don't just have it, you know it. And that changes everything. Because when you know who you are, when you trust your path, when you understand your journey, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easy, but because you get stronger. Because you no longer see obstacles as endings. You see them as direction. You no longer fear change, you move with it. You no longer doubt your purpose, you embody it. You were placed, not lost, and everything aligned. For this moment, your breakthrough is here and now. There's only one thing left to do, a step forward, fully, boldly, without hesitation. Because your life is no longer waiting for you to figure it out. It's waiting for you to claim it. So claim it. Claim your growth. Claim your strength. Claim your clarity. Claim your purpose. Because it's yours. It always has been. And now, you're ready. I'll say it one last time. I was placed, not lost. Everything aligned for this moment. My breakthrough is here. And this time, don't just say it, become it.